The impact a father has is so consequential on how a child is raised. And so I'm going to go through, this is from fathers.com. This is the consequences of fatherlessness. We always talk about how fatherlessness is so bad. 6 consequences of fatherlessness that you can pinpoint with statistics. So the first being poverty. Children in father-absent homes are almost 4 times more likely to be poor. In 2011, 12% of children in married couple families were living in poverty, compared to 44% of children in mother-only families. So 30% more likely to be in poverty without a father. Number 2, drug and alcohol abuse. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services states that, quote, fatherless children are at a dramatically greater risk of drug and alcohol abuse. There is significantly more drug use among children who do not live with a mother or father, according to the community context of family structure and adolescent drug use. Here's the thing, is when you do not have a person to guide you, to say, here is how you cope with your issues. And this is not trying to disparage single mothers. Single mothers are great. Single mothers do amazing work because oftentimes it is not by their own choice that they are single mothers. It is because you have weak men that walk out on their families. But that child is lacking that extra 50% of guidance in their life. And so they end up turning, when they need to cope, instead of having somebody to talk to, somebody to give them that advice, to be a guider for them, instead of having somebody to say, hey, God, even if not me as a father, a God can be there. God, the Father, the ultimate father, to be there for you. When you don't have a father that can necessarily push you in that right direction, they're more likely to go to drugs and alcohol. Number 3, physical and emotional health. A study of over almost 2,000 children aged 3 and older living with a residential father or father figure found that children living with married biological parents had significantly fewer externalizing and internalizing behavioral problems than children living with at least one non-biological parent. Children of single-parent homes are more than twice as likely to commit suicide. Again, children of a single-parent home are more than twice as likely to commit suicide. Data from 3 waves of the Fragile Families study was used to examine the prevalence and effects of mothers' relationships changes between birth and age 3 on their children's well-being. Children born to single mothers show higher levels of aggressive behavior than children born to married mothers. Living in a single mother household is equivalent to experiencing 5.25 partnership transitions. That's the thing, is so in a single mother household, again, props to single mothers. They are amazing in dealing with, many of them are amazing at dealing with the circumstances that are handed to them. But when you have a single mother, maybe they're dating and they also have a child and everything, that creates a lot of instability on a child's life, a lot of unknowns, and thus has a multitude of health and behavioral effects that make it difficult for that child to understand what a stable living environment is. And it creates instability further and further and further in their life than having a 2-parent household, having that father there, having that guider there. Number 4, educational achievement. Children in grades 7 through 12 who have lived with at least one biological parent, youth that experienced divorce, separation, or non-union birth reported lower grade point averages than those who have always lived with both biological parents. So so it is shown statistically that you are more likely to achieve better grades if you had both your parents in the household. And I think that has a lot to do, like it said, parents that didn't experience divorce, separation, or non-union birth. Because of that instability that's created, you have so many other things on your mind about, like, oh my gosh, am I going to have a new dad at home tonight? Am I going to have all these other possible issues that come with the instability of not having a 2-parent household? Along with that, 71% of high school dropouts are fatherlessness. That number is staggering there. 71% of high school dropouts are fatherless. Fatherless children have more trouble academically, scoring poorly on tests of reading, math, and thinking skills. Children from father-absent homes are more likely to be truant from school, more likely to be excluded from school, more likely to leave school at age 16, and less likely to attain academic and professional qualifications in adulthood. Yes, Fatherlessness is directly correlated with academic success. And we know academic success also translates into future success further, career success, financial success. There's a strong correlation between not having a father in a home and just having a poor lifestyle for your entire life. Number 5, crime. Adolescents living in intact families are less likely to engage in delinquency than their peers living in non-intact families. Compared to peers in intact families, adolescents in single-parent families and step families were more likely to engage in delinquency. This relationship appeared to be operating through differences in family processes, parental involvement, supervision, monitoring, and parent-child closeness between intact and non-intact families. A study using data from the National Longitudinal Study of Adolescent Health explored the relationship between family structure and risk of violent acts in neighborhoods. The results revealed that if the number of fathers is low in a neighborhood, then there's an increase in acts of teen violence. The statistical data showed that a 1% increase in the proportion of single-parent families in a neighborhood is associated with a 3% increase in the adolescents' level of violence. In other words, adolescents who live in neighborhoods with lower proportions of single-parent families and who reported higher levels of family integration commit less violence. So if you have two parents, you're less likely to commit violent crime. Children aged 10 to 17 living with two biological or adoptive parents were significantly less likely to experience sexual assault, child maltreatment, other types of major violence, and non-victimization types of adversity, and were less likely to witness violence in their families compared to peers living in single-parent families and step families. A study of 109 juvenile offenders indicated that family structure significantly predicts delinquency. So you guys want to talk about, financial success, academic success, physical and emotional health. If those didn't already convince you the necessity for coming at this fatherlessness epidemic, then crime. Do you want to keep your streets safe? Advocate for fathers to be in the home. Period. Society would be a billion times better if we had a government that encouraged a two-parent household. Look, I know that each and every circumstance is difficult. I understand that divorce in some ways might be what's best for the parents. But what that does to a child, consider that. Consider that intensely. Consider your child's academic, physical, and criminal before. Because, look, maybe the divorce is necessary for the child's health, but you need to make sure. We have a government right now that says if you're a single mother, you're going to get paid more from the government than if you stay with your father. We are incentivizing. We have a government that incentivizes this fatherlessness. And by incentivizing fatherlessness, we are incentivizing crime, lower academic achievement, poor physical and emotional health, and poverty. And you want to know what else? Number 6, sexual activity in teen pregnancy. A study using a sample of 1,400 rural Southern adolescents, 851 of them females, 558 males, age 11 to 18, investigated the correlation between father absence and self-reported sexual activity. The results revealed that adolescents in father absence homes were more likely to report being sexually active compared to adolescents living with their fathers. Being raised by a single mother raises the risk of teen pregnancy, marrying with less than a high school degree, and forming a marriage where both partners have less than a high school degree. So here's the thing, everybody, is do you want to know what one of the biggest problems, I talk on this show about how we have people that are distorting truth with the transgender movement. We have the progressive left that is trying to make everybody dependent on government. And here is one of the biggest ways that they are doing it. My biggest Father's Day message to everybody is we need fathers in the home. And no, maybe it doesn't always have to be a biological father. I know people that have better relationships with a step parent than they do with their biological parent. And their step parent ended up being that figure that was crucial in their development. And that's perfectly fine. I'm not trying to discourage that. But two-parent households, and especially having an active and engaged father, is crucial to that. That's what we learn from these 6 consequences of fatherlessness. Fatherlessness causes poverty, causes drug and alcohol abuse, causes physical and emotional health issues, causes educational achievement issues, causes crime. It causes sexual activity in teen pregnancy. And that's a big one, sexual activity in teen pregnancy, because that creates the cycle. That creates the cycle is if you don't have a father and you have sexual activity in teen pregnancy, then oftentimes the parent relationship deteriorates from that younger age too. And we have a cycle of that fatherlessness.